So the first video gave you the framework, and now we are going into how to structure your week and how to structure your session. We have to divide it into in-season and off-season because they are different, and we have to pay attention to how we do things so that we're not tired on game day. If you are in season, then I would focus on 2 full body sessions and 1 optional sprint session if your coach doesn't make you sprint. And if you're off season, I would do 3 full body sessions in the gym and 2 cardio sessions at least, depending on whether you can do like pickup games, whether you can go somewhere and play. That is always most fun and best. But if you don't, then I would do interval training and I would do some runs, even though if you're like me, we hate those. So now we are talking about how to structure a session. I always do these 5 blocks and I do them all the time, and I know exactly what it is that I want, and that makes me be efficient and that makes me be fast. So mobility, I always do the same one. I go into the gym, I already know exactly what I'm doing, and I do the same thing all the time. Then we go into your power work. Power work always has to be the first thing you do when you're still fresh and you can still push 100%. Okay, that is very important. Otherwise, you will never hit the same intensities. Your body will not get used to those high intensities if you do those at the end of the session and you're fatigued. Then you go into your main strength block. Main strength means it's always on 2 legs. It's your trap bar deadlift, squat, leg press, hip thrust, everything you do on 2 legs. We always want to keep that in. Then you go into accessory work. Accessory work sounds like it's not important, but it really is. That's where you do your single leg work. That's where you do your upper body. That's where you do your core. So just because it's called accessory doesn't mean we skip it. And then I always have the resilience block. This is your isometric holds. This is your overcoming isometrics. Everything to keep your body and tendons especially robust. This is where we do it. If you have a knee injury, this is where you put extra focus on that patella tendon, on that knee, whatever it is. If it's ankle, you put extra focus on the calf muscles, on the Achilles tendon, on the soleus, whatever it is. This is where it goes. With that structure, I keep every workout under 50 minutes. So what's the difference in season and off season with sets and reps? Let's get specific. Your velocity work, you want to be low, like we're not doing 20 jumps in season. You're already jumping and sprinting all the time, every practice you do, so we keep it low. Main strength, we want to have a strength stimulus, but if your body is not used to doing 4 reps of something, you have to work yourself down. So if you never do strength work, I would start at 6 and I would work myself down. But the goal is in season that we are able to lift something heavy for 2 times. So I'd rather have you be like at a lower rep range than a higher. But if you've never done it, then like don't start with 2 reps. You're gonna like be super sore. For all the accessory work that we do on 1 leg, we still want to keep the reps low in season because we don't want you to be sore on game day. We don't want you to be too fatigued. So I always keep them under 6. And then if you don't have a game day sometimes during the season, which happens now and then, this is where you can like pound out some reps and you can hire it and you can do like 12 reps and really get a pump in, and that will carry you through a few more weeks. And for resilience, you don't really have to be worried because isometrics don't really get you sore. They don't really get you too fatigued. So you can really do a lot here for your training. If you're in off season, we have a lot more wiggle room. You are allowed to be fatigued. We want you to be fatigued. We want to really get you to a better place. So obviously it will come with fatigue. For velocity work, I would still keep it low because it has to be low. Otherwise it's not going to be explosive. So I would still stay between 4 and 6. For main strength, I would give you more of a range. You start with 8 and then during the weeks you lower it. You have the same program for like 5 weeks and you start with 8 reps and each week you go lower until you hit like 3. And you do that 4 times. Accessory work, this is the time to pound out reps. You're going to be tired, you're going to be sore. We increase range of motion and you can like really do 12 to 15 depending on what you want and how much of a burn you want, how much you can handle. But 3 times 12 to 15 is going to be really good for you, especially because you didn't do it all season. And resilience pretty much stays the same. I hope that helps. I hope it's a bit more specific for you. A little add-on to this whole video. Being a high-performance athlete doesn't mean that everything is going perfect all the time. We have to let go of control, and sometimes we will be more fatigued and sometimes we will be less fatigued. That's what being a high-performance athlete is. So you can't just expect everything to be smooth sailing just because we want to and we want to control everything. We always adapt, and you always have to use your own thinking. Am I in a heavy exam season? Did I just lose someone that's important to me? Did I go through a breakup? Did somebody die in my family? And I have to adapt. That is the most important thing. Life is never perfect, and you always have to use the good part of your brain that has your best interests at heart, okay? Don't listen to that devil inside of your head that always says more, 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 more. Use that good side of your brain to stop you from overworking. So now you know why 3 sessions are enough. You know how to structure those 3 sessions. And in the last video, we'll quickly go over what the biggest mistakes are doing this kind of program.